So I get it that we see contrast. We have a desire. Source answers. And when we align with it, it's manifest. And if we focus on the problem, then we just waffle around over there.
You waffle around and create magnificently. You just don't allow yourself the satisfaction of alignment or the benefit of the manifestation.
Right.
But you're always productive.
Right. But this happens to us, about relationships and money and employment and well-being and all things. So we have all of these different vibrations.
It doesn't have to, though, unless you're sloppy in your thinking. In other words, contemplating thought for the sake of thinking will make you crazy. Contemplating thought for the sake of the emotion it produces is the key. In other words, choosing the thought because it's life-giving and uplifting. It would be like being in a swimming pool underwater and someone saying, through this tube you can breathe rotten egg gas. And through this tube, you can breathe fresh oxygen. It's your choice. And 90% of you take the rotten egg gas. And one might wonder, why would you do that? And you would say, it's all I know. My mother breathes rotten egg gas. Her mother breathes rotten egg gas. But once you get a whiff of the other, you can never go back to rotten egg gas again. In other words, this is just our sort of fun way of demonstrating that you're not as deliberate as you might be. You're not as picky about the freshness of the thoughts that you think as you are about the food you eat, maybe, or the air you breathe. You can tell the difference in our ridiculous analogy, but often you ponder thoughts that aren't fresh. They're old. They didn't feel good the first time you thought them. They didn't feel good the last time you thought them. Why in the world do you keep thinking those thoughts? And you say, because they're all around. They're all around. It's sort of who I hang around with, or it's, and we say they're just in the forefront of your vibrational pattern, but you could clean that up. But it takes some decision to do it, and the fast way to do it is from the inside feeling of it. So what we are proposing here is that with a little bit of effort, you can become addicted to thoughts that feel good. And there's so much power in approaching it that way rather than trying to clean up all those thoughts that don't feel good, because attention to all of those thoughts that don't feel good just makes you more actively involved with them and just adds to them more.
So I think that's the basis of my question.
It is.
If I have 100 things I'm vibrating on and I'm close to alignment on 99 of them, and I'm out of alignment on one of them, but I focus on the one of them, then nothing that I want will come to me because I'm focused out of the vortex. That's right. And that sounds like a ridiculous scenario, doesn't it? Because there's all these things that are good that I could focus upon, and one thing that isn't good that I am focusing upon. So why would I focus on it? That's really a worthwhile question. Why would I, as a human, try to wrestle that last problem to the ground and kill it? And we say it's because you've been trained to be problem oriented. It's because you've been trained. You've been taught a flawed premise. You've been taught that if you will push hard enough on that unwanted thing, that eventually you will obliterate it and it will go away. But it doesn't go away. It just remains active. The only way it will go away, as far as you're concerned, is if you withdraw your active attention to it, and therefore your active attraction of it. And so this gets back to what we were talking about earlier. This is really a leading edge conversation about creation, friends. It's all an inside job. It's all about a vibrational offering. And if we were talking to you earlier in your life experience, we could offer this logic to you, and you could, in a culture, a vibrational culture, your personal vibrational arena or culture, you, in the absence of resistance, you could fixate on good feeling thoughts, and you could maintain a substantial footing inside the vortex. But we're not talking to you on your first day. We're talking to you after you've got
all kinds of other things that are active in your vibration. And for us to say to you, just stop doing that, is irrational, because you've been thinking them, so you've been offering the vibration, and the vibration has given you a point of attraction. In other words, that's why it feels like your thoughts are thinking you, because you're actively involved in those thoughts. So then over time we say, so now what you're wanting to do is just shift the thought, try to find thoughts that feel better, and gradually, as our friend has discovered, you can move yourself into better and better and better feeling thoughts. And now we're saying to you, you've heard enough to understand this. You get that you are a vibrational being enough that now, if you will just, you see, here's the bottom line in all of this. If you were not doing that thing you're doing that's keeping you out of the vortex, you'd be in it. If you weren't doing that thing you do that holds you out, you'd be in. But when we talk about not doing that thing you do that's keeping you out, you're focused upon that thing you do that's keeping you out, and it keeps you out. So then we say, well, if you could deactivate your mind, if you could meditate and quiet your mind, if you could focus upon your breathing. Jerry and Esther are about to deliver to you a meditation CD that is designed just to do that. But you don't even need to wait to the CD. Just focus on your breathing. Just sit and focus upon your breathing. Just let your mind be still. Just find reasons to deactivate thoughts. Just feel an aversion to the discomfort of negative emotion and feel an attraction to thoughts that feel good. Train yourself. Become addicted to the good tasting air and to the good feeling thoughts. When you find yourself, everybody that you know is a multi-dimensional being, and every one of them, as you said in your brilliant opening remarks, has many facets that are active and potentially available to you. And as you focus upon some flaw in someone, and the flaw of them disagrees with the version of them that you've got in your vortex, that's the only reason you ever feel negative emotion about anything. Do you know it? That what you're focused upon disagrees with the vortex version. That's what negative emotion is 100% of the time. Feels like my negative emotion is because this person is a rascal. That isn't why you have negative emotion. You have negative emotion because your rascal version disagrees with your adoring version. That's all that it is. So as you feel the discord of your rascally version, and you say to yourself, this is not the version of you that I choose to find resonance with right now. If I'm going to focus on you, and apparently I am since I live with you, or if I'm going to focus on you, and apparently I am because I gave birth to you, or if I'm going to focus on you, and apparently I am because you're in the White House right now, or if I'm going to focus on you, and apparently I am because, then I owe it to myself to find the version of you that allows me alignment with who I am. And the reason that you keep wanting the world to change is because the world as it is doesn't agree with your vortex version. Do you hear this? The world that you're looking at does not agree with the vortex version, and it never will. And it never will, because the world that you're looking at is old news. The vortex version is the new version. The vortex version is the up to the minute version. The vortex version is the furthest created version. What is will never match up to the vortex version, you see. And yet you're running around, and it's what your opening remarks were about, trying to sort out all of the manifestations and figure out what's wrong. What's wrong? Well, what's wrong is you're looking back instead of where you are. What's wrong is you're not up to speed with who you are. What you are is you're trying to live in the old, and you say, how can it be old? I just checked my balance just now. I just checked my balance just now. The bank says this is exactly how much I have now. And we say, the bank can't see your vortex. The bank doesn't know what you've put there. And you say, but I can't spend my vortex. And we say, you're not even trying. You're not even trying. You're living in the past. You're living in the old past of present reality. We thought you'd think that was funnier. We really want you to feel the old newsness. If it's manifested, it's old news. And what's manifested is not going to ring your bells. The only thing that rings your bells is moving toward who you really are, because you're not a physical manifested being. You're energy in motion, you see. Can you get that? Esther said to Jerry, why don't you buy that beautiful car for me? It would make me happy for the afternoon. And Jerry's found that that's about it. That's about it. In other words, stuff, those things that you think you want, as you move through life, here's the way you want to approach relationships in your life and your rendezvous. See all of this potential rendezvousing out there. And there are people who are in the same body, so ornery that you'd never want to spend a minute with them, and so lovely that you'd like to spend all day with them. In the same person. Not at the same time, but in the same person. So as you disregard what any of them are doing and give full regard to your alignment, to aligning with the vibration of who you are, now what happens is, as you're in and out of all of these relationships, you're just touching in these, because relationships are really, really temporary. It's just this rendezvous. If you could think of the relationship as being me tending to the relationship between me and my source, and then the united me moving out and letting law of attraction help me rendezvous with others who are right there with me. So I'm touched just for a moment by that baby's smile, and touched just for a moment by that kind driver, and touched just for a moment by this idea, and touched just for a moment by rendezvousing with that person who has the means to open that door for me. And you see what we're getting at? You find yourself just being in these little vortices where what you're focused upon is just showing itself to you over and over and over again. Rendezvous, 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 constant rendezvous, constant. That's what life is. It's just a constant series of rendezvous. Now. But what you are not considering is your vibrational relationship with your source at the core of those rendezvous. If you tend to that first and then you go out, oh, what a day you will have. What a day you will have. We get there for you, or is there something more?
You got there for me on that. Thank you.
Jerry and Esther were in a hotel in Olympia for a few days. And Jerry went down to get some milk from the milk machine to bring it back up to the room for Esther and for himself. And he had a cup that was too tall for the machine, and when he lifted the apparatus to put the cup in and filled it, then he realized he couldn't get the cup out without spilling it. And
his cup overflowed.
It was sort of a place you can't get out of. And so he stood there and he thought, well, so he just went for it. And of course he spilled milk. And then he began to clean it up because he doesn't like to make a mess for others. And this wonderful woman came to him and said, I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. And Jerry said, oh, no, I made this mess. I'll clean it up. And she said, no, it's my job. It's my job. And she presented to him such a appreciative, I'm in love with life, and I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you even though you've made a big mess here, was really what she was saying. It was a strange, because Jerry was unhappy with himself about it, but she was so not unhappy with him that he actually thought about spilling more milk in more places. It was really a nice rendezvous in time. It was a nice experience. It was a very nice experience. And then later, Jerry was down in the same area for another reason, and there was a little girl, 3 or 4 years old at most, she had a spray bottle in a rag, and she was really busy cleaning things up around the lobby of this hotel. And it was really something to see, because she was having such a good time. And Jerry said to the woman at the front desk, does she belong to you? And she said, no, she's one of the guests' children. She just wants to be helpful. She's just having fun. And it was so interesting that it was right in that, it was like the thought form was still there. The thought form was still spinning, and not a thought form, but a point of attraction. In other words, it was Jerry's point of attraction too, because he had been focused upon it.